Morez Johnson, the new Michigan forward who had an incredible game against Oakland, absolutely dominating in basically 20 minutes of play. He had 20 points in the first half of that game. I think he missed two shots from the field. He was doing a little bit of everything for Michigan in his first game, his first official game in a Michigan uniform after transferring in this summer from Illinois, the in-conference rival, some might say, of Michigan. He had some comments afterwards that some people took as a little bit of subtle Illinois shade. He went on to, talk about the game, said he's great, having fun, all that. But he also said this quote, Riley, "I'm blessed to be here with this coaching staff, allowing me to evolve my game." Now, a lot of the chatter when he did transfer was that, like he wasn't going to be able to do the things he wanted to do with Brad Underwood in Illinois. I think the quote from his father was they're trying to turn him into Kofi. He doesn't want to be Kofi. He wants to, handle the ball. He wants to do some dribbling. He wants to be able to have a little bit of freedom in his game. And that eventually led to him entering the transfer portal. And then he ends up at Michigan, where in the first game, I will say, he was doing more than he did at Illinois. That's definitely to say. But I guess when he says the quote, "I'm blessed to be here with this coaching staff, allowing me to evolve my game." In your opinion, is that like subtle shade at Illinois?
Maybe a little bit. I think looking at the circumstances for how he left, if his dad has already gone on record saying this, there's probably a little something behind that quote. I do like that he said he's blessed. We're a blessed and highly favored duo,
As always.
and I wonder if you know, not everybody can be a Twinsky, but maybe Morez wants to be a Twinsky. But yeah, I think anytime that you have a player that leaves your program on what appears to be not the best terms, even if it's not like super heated or super contentious, and you make a comment like this, it is going to lead rival fans to read into it, and probably even current fans who are wanting to sort of stick it to Illinois and say, look how good he is now. Look at him flourishing under our tutelage, under our culture, under our program. My big question, Cart, I mean, I know you were more locked into Illinois than I was last season for the brand and everything, and I watched Illinois a good bit. But in watching this game at Michigan, it seemed like the biggest difference with Morez's freedom under Dusty was really the playmaking stuff. I didn't think, and I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to misinterpret his quotes with wanting to evolve, wanting to grow his game. Maybe he has an accurate view of himself as a player, which I really respect. It seems like the fact that he's made those comments, and his dad said that when he was leaving Illinois, and has already shown some growth in these areas, aside from just being a rim runner, shot blocker, rebounding specialist, so to speak.
Mhm.
To have that playmaking bit, I think is huge. But I don't think he was on the perimeter a ton. But maybe that's not really where he wants to be right now, or maybe he knows that's like. I think his spot in the league will still be doing what we saw on Monday night. Like you don't really want Morez on the perimeter or need him. You see plenty of bigs in the league who can be that sort of playmaking hub, even if their jumper's not their strength.
Yeah. Also, like in a situation like this, I don't even think it's subtle shade, or I don't even think it's even wrong to say, like, literally, Illinois didn't want to, they chose as a basketball program not to let Morez do this.
Yeah.
Like that's the vision they had. They didn't have that vision for him. And look, on both ends, like Illinois ends up with David Murkovich, who looks incredible. Michigan ends up with Morez, who also looks good. So it's like a win-win for both parties in this situation. But I don't know, like watching the Michigan game, he did like have the rebound and brought it up the floor. Like, he did have
Mhm.
some moments where like he was putting the ball on the floor more. So I think that he is playing for a coach that is letting him do that now, right? That's a fair statement to say. And is it shade at Illinois? Who really cares if it is, to be honest with you? Because like when you transfer, it's usually for a reason, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you have the case where it's like, oh, I want to play on a bigger stage. Oh, I want more money. I don't really know. But like at the end of the day, you're transferring because you didn't like your situation. He didn't like his situation. He didn't like the vision that Illinois had for him. He decided to leave. So if he wants to throw shade at him, okay. Like Illinois would probably throw shade back at Morez. That's
Mhm.
what we upgraded ourselves. We got David Murkovich, and we're fine that you're over at Michigan doing what you want to do. So it's like, I don't know. It's gonna be a thing given that these two schools are just at each other all the time in the Big Ten, and obviously they're gonna match up this year, and we are going to get Morez versus Murder Murk together. That's gonna be one where I think both players end up ejected. But it's gonna be a really really good game to watch. I guess it's early on, Riley. if you had to pick a side though, what player you rather have on your team? Would you rather have Morez or would you rather have Murk?
Murk. I'm a Balkan boy. Murk was my guy's teammate. I got to do it out of loyalty's sake.
Yeah, listen,
But but
I love Morez. I love Morez for like the rebounding, rim running monster
Mhm.
that he is. I think I'm taking Murk though.
What do you think Murk is just a little more versatile offensively?
Yeah, I think Merckx is a little bit more versatile offensively. He's also technically younger than Morez, even though not by a lot, but like by a year he is. And I don't know, I just think he does a little bit more honestly, I think Morez wants his skill set to be like Merckx, and he might get there one day, but Merckx got that young and early right now.
Yeah, yeah. With Merck, like I thought, kind of the funny thing about this was, as we're analyzing the whether or not he's throwing shade at Illinois, they sort of operated the exact same way though. Like you could if you stack up Morez Johnson's highlights against Oakland and Merkovich's highlights against who did
Jackson
they
State.
play? Jackson. I thought it was Jackson State, but if you stack them up next to each other, they're making the same type of passes from the pinch post and out of the low post, and they both are putting really good touch, good velocity, good placement, and you see the flash. It's like, oh wow, this is special. This is fun to watch, and again, I would say Murk is a little further along in that skill set at this point on his career. And Murk, I think, knocked down at least one three against Jackson State. He might have gotten two, but it does make me wonder, like, is there a world where maybe Underwood would have let Morez do this and just not have recruited Murkovich? Or was it something? And if not, I wonder what like Dusty saw that gave indication that Morez could do this. Because I don't think Morez really had this in his bag in high school.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, look, I think he's a player that has more to him than just rebounding, dunking, physicality.
Mhm.
And there's a world where like maybe Brad Underwood and his staff do would have let Morez do that this year. Um, what it would it look like? I don't know. Would it look as good as what Merck is doing right now? I don't necessarily think so, but um, I think there's going to be a lot of subtle shade thrown both ways in this battle, and look, luckily, they're going to play each other, and then the decision will be made forever on who wins this battle and who ends up on top. But at the end of the day, I think both parties got who they wanted, and both parties should feel happy about their situation without throwing shade to the other side. But also go ahead and keep throwing shade because, like, I'm just sitting watching it happen. I'm just like sitting in the middle with my front court, Jackson Kohler. I'm just like, hmm, doesn't concern me. Look at them just going back and forth at each other. I'm probably gonna lose to both these schools, but hey, let's just watch them go ahead and just squabble it out, huh? But no, fun. Look, I think it's not gonna be the first or the last time there's some subtle shade thrown at Illinois. But you can bet your sweet tushy that when it is, it will be shown and talked about on this channel.